All right, students, today's assignment, still factoring, still working with trinomials. The lead coefficient is something other than 1. We're still factoring by grouping, but now we will have a greatest common factor to take out. So this is the extra step we're going to be taking, is finding that greatest common factor. All right, then yesterday in 7th period, someone brought it to my attention and said, Miss Battles, you showed us all this stuff on the calculator, how to find common factors and all of that, and factors of a number that add up to another number, but we don't have a calculator at home. How are we going to finish our homework? That was quite the conundrum. So today I am going to show you how to use Desmos, which I just learned how to use Desmos for this same exact lesson. And I think you're going to find it a lot cleaner and easier to do. So let's get started. First thing though, I'm going to tell you to mark out number 1 and to mark out number 3. I'm only going to assign you 10 problems out of these 20. 2 of the problems we're going to do for our notes. So we're going to look at number 2. And step one is find your GCF. Okay, well, there's a greatest common factor for 30, 174, and 252. Those are quite large numbers. You can fiddle around with that on your calculator, or you can go into Desmos and type in your GCF with your parenthesis. Then we've got 30. We've got 174, put commas in between, and we have 252. Our common factor is 6. All right, so we're going to go back. I'm going to go back to my other screen here. All right, so 6 was our greatest common factor, so we're going to divide everything by 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5x squared. 174 divided by 6 is, wait a minute. 30, 174, and 252. Ah, interesting. I did this totally different whenever I worked on this myself. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and go back into our screen here. So 174 divided by 6 is 29. And 252 divided by 6 is 42. All right, now we have this simplified, but the thing is, we can't eliminate that 6. That 6 is still a factor of this trinomial, so we got to keep it out there so we don't forget about it. Now, the next thing we do is we have to determine what our product of our first and our last term is. So to start finding our numbers that we need to separate this into two terms. So what we're going to do is take our first term times our last term, 5 times 42, and we get 210. Not just 210, but a negative 210, because it's 5 times negative 42. And those factors of negative 210 have to add up to a positive 29. That's our B value. That's our middle value. See, once we took out the greatest common factor here, we are looking at this trinomial. All right, so this is where we had used the calculator, and we plugged everything into the calculator to figure out what our factors of that multiply to a negative 210 but add to a 29. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Desmos. I'm going to type in, like we did in our calculator, in y sub 1, we had y equals, you have to physically type that in. It was already in the calculator, but you have to type it in here. Y equals this value, a negative 210, our top value, divided by x arrow out, and then we have to add an x. Oops, don't know what happened. Don't know what happened. Ah, there we go. X plus x. So it'll look like this. All right, once we get that done, now the second equation, originally this was our second equation. All right, our second equation is just going to be y equals our bottom number in our x, y equals 29. Okay, we didn't see anything show up on the screen, so I'm going to have to shrink this. And when I shrink it, I can see, oh, there's a point where everything intersects, and there's a point where everything intersects. And looky, 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 we have -6 and +35. It's our x coordinates. That's what we're looking for. A -6 and a +35. Those add up to 29. All right, so -6 and +35. So we're going to write that down here, and we're going to break our middle term down into a -6x plus 35x. Bring down our last term, bring down our first term. We're going to group it. The rest is just like everything else we've done. What's your greatest common factor? No common factor for 5 and x. I'm sorry, for 5 and 6, but we do have an x in common. That's going to leave me with 5x minus 6. When I take out my greatest common factor here, I should be left with 5x minus 6. So since I know I want a 5, I know 5 goes into 35 7 times. So 7 is going to be my common factor with a 5x minus 6, because 42 divided by 7 is 6. So now, here's what I have. My common binomial is a factor. So we have, and I'm going to write this out over here, 5x minus 6. My GCFs, x plus 7. But also that common factor I took out at the very beginning, do not forget about it. So these are all of our factors of our trinomial right here. All right, so I hope you feel like Desmos is a little bit easier to use. I'm going to go ahead and do problem number 4 with you guys, and then the rest you're going to work on by yourselves. Well, not all of them. I'm going to assign you the 10 problems we need to do. So now we're starting with these terms, 15, 175, and 490. I know 5 is a factor of all of those, but 15 may also be a factor. I would personally just divide both of these by 15 to see if it works. But you can always go in here to Desmos. All right, we'll get rid of all of this and type in GCF 15, 175, and 490. And I've got, oops, something in there that shouldn't be. Now, there we go. Oh, 15 is not a common factor. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There we go. Now is it? No, it is not. So 5 is our greatest common factor. All right, so let's go back. And let's go ahead and factor a 5 out of everything. Now, earlier I drew one big line. If it helps you to do each term individually, do each term individually. It doesn't matter, but just make sure everything gets divided. So we factored out that 5. We're left with 3m squared. 5 out of 175, that would leave us with 35m. And a -490 divided by 5 leaves us with a -98. Okay, we took out our greatest common factor. We're going to leave that alone for now. We're just going to focus on our trinomial in here. Do our little x game over here. The first term times the last term, 3 times a -98. 3 times a negative 98 is negative 294. So we've got a negative 294. And I need the factors of negative 294 to add up to a 35. All right, so let's go back into Desmos and let's type in y equals a negative 294. A negative 294 divide, dadgummit, 94 divided by x. Exit out of the denominator and put in your plus x. All right. Then in the next line, y equals, we are trying to get those factors to equal 35, to add up to 35. So we just write y equals 35. There's our straight line that intersects those other two curves there. So we get our answers are negative 7 and 42. Negative 7 plus 42 does equal the 35. All right, so let's go back to our regular screen. Negative 7 and 42. All right, so we're breaking down our middle term. This way we get our 4 terms that we need to be able to group. I'm leaving that 5 alone for right now, but don't forget about it. I'm just focusing on this trinomial in here. So our greatest common factor here is m. That leaves me with 3m minus 7. My greatest common factor here is, oh, I thought it was 42. It was not 42. Let's see. Let's go back in so you can check in Desmos if you want to, and we can go ahead and put this on another line. GCF 42, comma 98. Right here we got 14. All right, so we're going to factor out a 14 out of this sucker, and we've got take out a 14, and guess what 42 divided by 14 would be? 3. So we've got a 3m. We take 14 out of 98. We're going to have left over 7, because we're going to get the same thing. So our factors are, I'll write it out over here, 3m minus 7, m plus 14, and your 5. There we go. There's all of our factors of that particular trinomial. All right, so now here's the problems that you're going to do. You're going to do number 5, number 6, number 7, number 9, number 10. That's what, 5 problems? And then I believe we have 5 on the back to do. You're going to do number 12, number 13, number 15, number 16, and number 20. All right. So write that at the top. Complete. 5, 7, 9. Oops, with a 6 in there. 6. 12, 13, 15, 16, and 20. And that should give you more than enough practice and hopefully lighten the load a little bit using Desmos. All right, good luck with it.